Lecture we have created one vendor account group which is of domestic. So similar way, if your business is asking you to create different account group, vendor account group for domestic vendors, or for you are exporting few things, then create different account group for the export related vendors. So same way you can create different vendor account group as per the business requirement. Next one is one time vendor. So in practical scenario, few times or many times you are purchasing any goods or any services from vendor as a one time activity only. So in that case, if you don't want to create or maintain all the data, because that vendor is anyhow going to utilize only one time. So in such cases, if you don't want to maintain each and everything as a part of vendor master data, unnecessary you are maintaining those things, because that vendor anyhow it is not going to use after the one transaction. So in such cases, SAP has provided you the concept of one time vendor. So in the same way, same path you can follow to create the vendor account group for one time vendor. Click on the defined account group with the screen layout, click on new entry, and here you can provide the one time vendor. For example, one time vendor account group name, for example here I am providing 1D as a one time vendor. Here also you can provide the meaningful description, vendor account group one time, and don't miss to click on this one time account, this tick. Okay, because with this tick only, system will verify that this account group is one time only. Then in such cases, in practical scenario, what we'll do, for example, if you go to the general data, you don't want to maintain all the address related things, because this vendor or vendor account group is one time only. So in such cases, you can make all these fields as an optional entry or surprise. Nothing is required. Okay. And these all things, if you ask me like, then where we are going to update all the address or all these things, you can update these things or these fields related data as per your requirement in the transaction only. Directly in the PO you can maintain. Just we need that vendor account name or vendor number to create the PO for the one time transaction. We need to create this vendor group, vendor account group, by clicking on this one time account, and whichever required, just you want to fill those details only in the vendor account group. For example, reconciliation account if you want to fill, or this one also if you want to update in the transaction, those two or three fields only which is really required, that you can make it as a required entry. And in vendor, while creating the vendor master data, you will update those things only. Okay. And rest address or price or anything whichever which is not mandatory, that you can directly maintain in the or update in the transaction instead of maintaining in the vendor master data. That is the concept of one time vendor. So if you click on this one time vendor, provide account group name, meaningful description, make field status or field entry as per the requirement, and then you can simply save. So that is your one time vendor account group. Okay. So this way you can create the one time vendor account group. Now you will ask me like, here we are not updating any data, not address, then how we can maintain and in the transaction. So if you go to the PO, we have different tabs. So for example, if you in the header data, if you go to the partners, okay, or addresses, sorry, not in the partners but in the addresses. So here you can manually maintain the vendor related address instead of maintaining in the vendor account group. Just for creating the PO or for the transaction of the PO, we need this number. See, this number we required. So to get this number, we need to create the vendor account group, and based on that vendor account group we'll get this number. And these all things like addresses or whichever you want to fill, that you can manually put it here, because it is one time only instead of maintaining a vendor master record. So that is the concept of one time vendor account group. Once we'll start our P2P cycle, we'll see, and we'll start creating the vendors against the one time vendor account group. We'll utilize this case and create the transaction with the help of the one time vendor account group. Okay. So in this lecture, we have seen like how to create one time vendor account group and why it is mandated, why it is created in the SAP, for which scenarios. Okay, thank you.